What are some of the difficulties that you faced personally as a missionary in the field, and how did you cope with it?
Yeah, I think the first set of difficulties that I really experienced was when I was in another area of China, in the southern part of China, and I was in an area that had not been open to foreigners before. I was the first foreigner, the first Christian to go into this place, and so what I experienced was that the Chinese side, they did not trust me. They thought I was a spy. They literally thought I was a spy. They couldn't understand why an American girl was here in their area, what my intentions were, what my motives were. And so for the first year, they didn't treat me very well. They were mean to me, a couple of people in particular. They didn't trust me. And so I really had to, work my way into their hearts, so to speak. But I think because through one perseverance, I should even say my prayer life at that time probably wasn't also very strong. So I also wasn't very diligent in praying and bringing this before the Lord. I relied more on myself than on God. But through the grace of God, I saw by the end of that year a warming of hearts, both on my side and their side, as far as them receiving me and not seeing me as the enemy or as a spy, but trusting me that and our relationships could go wider, deeper, and really working well together to make a difference in this area where we were working.
Were there other, you were saying that you were like one of the only foreigners that were there. Were there other foreigners with you when you came, or was it just you went there by yourself?
So I was a representative of a foreign organization, and they just came in maybe a few times a year. So on a day-to-day basis, I was the only foreigner in this area. Wow. Yes.
Wow, that must have been very difficult.
Yeah, again, it's interesting, I think my naivete, I didn't really understand what it really meant. I think it was only until I left and I understood and I realized how God protected me and really gave me a lot of grace, because it's not something I think that everyone can do. And I think and so I just give thanks that God used me in such a way.
So was this around 1990s?
It was in the 1990s.
So no Netflix, no Wi-Fi,
no
internet.
Yeah. No.
So you were just probably there.
I had to write letters to my parents.
Wow, great. What are some of the blessings or privilege you experienced as a missionary?
Too many. I think just in the first place, it's a privilege to be called by God. And I believe that everyone is called by God to serve. Maybe it's in their own backyard, maybe it's overseas, but just to be called and to be able to go to another nation to serve is a privilege in itself. And then to be able to have I think again, it depends on your personality and your willingness. And so from going back to when God called me I was 12 years old, my thought was, if God is calling, I'm going. And to me, it was that simple. Some people make missions very complicated, but actually it's very simple. If God calls, you go. And so I think the more you think about it, the more you're going to say, oh, I got to do this, I got to do this, I got to do this, I got to do this. But actually, yes, sure, you can prepare yourself. But I think that it's in the obedience and taking that step of faith that God leads you step by step. And so for me, just to go like that and never looking back, I think is one of the reasons also that has allowed me to be long-term on the field. And so but the blessings, I mean, have been more numerous than I can even share or yeah, explain. But I have seen God work more in my life and change my life more than I have been a blessing or an impact on people that I've served. My relationship with Jesus has gone anything but deeper and wider. And so because my life on the mission field is, I've come to be a better Christian, if you can say that. And so, I mean, to me, every day is a blessing because I get to meet people from all around the world who are serving the Lord. And so I've seen miracles and wonders.
Yeah, I mean, as you're talking, I think it's really a blessing to us, and I think you're like a pioneer, and I really appreciate your spirit and your motivation and everything. But I guess, for people that are listening, sometimes we just don't understand, like when you say God's calling you to mission, and like, how do we discern? Like, are you thinking that God calls everyone to mission? Like, how can you, and when you're saying, when God calls, like, do you hear from God? Is God like talking to you like audibly every day? Like, or, how does that, for you, how does that kind of translate into your daily life that you could encourage others?
Right. No, that's an excellent question, because also for me, it's been a journey. And for me, it's been more of a stirring of the heart, not necessarily an audible voice. And so if I, really look back to when I was 12 years old till today, and seeing how God has been so faithful and leading me, because I've had an incredible diversity of experiences, and every one of them I give thanks to God for it, because I know that He's the one who has led me on that journey. And so I think it's just a matter of being willing, number one, having an ear that listens and hears, and giving that to the Lord. I mean, one thing I'm going to throw out there is I'm single. And I believe that God has called me to be single, and He doesn't give that calling to everyone. But being single has made it, I'm going to say, easier, whether that's true or not, but I feel that. And so it's allowed me to have that freedom to go when God says go. But then the other side of that is to stay when God says stay. I mean, I don't get everything right that God leads, or sometimes I go a way that God is not calling, but yeah.
Thanks for watching HNK Ministries, A Heart for North Korea. This was Eve. What are some of the difficulties, challenges and blessings? To be continue. Blessings.